FCS Compliance 2024. This year's topic is accuracy. So we're going to talk about some policies and procedures and how we should be doing things accordingly so that they are accurate. So let's look at what accuracy is. Accuracy is the condition of being true, correct, or exact, being free from errors. And compliance is being in accordance with all the federal, state, local laws, regulations, and the agency policy and procedures or any requirements that we have. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our timesheets. Timesheets are done on a bi-weekly basis, and we're finding a lot of errors with them. So we want to talk about this and about how to accurately complete your timesheet. So for one, timesheets are required by the Fair Labor and Standard Act. It states that every company who's registered in the United States is required to track the work hours of its employees. So timesheet compliance means that an employee needs to adhere to the federal and general timekeeping rules and industry standards by recording the actual times they work on their employee time records. So let's look at what are your responsibilities with your timesheet. So we're going to look at what you need to do and how to look at your timesheet so that you can turn in an error-free timesheet. For one, you're going to make sure you're using the correct timesheet template. You're going to make sure your legal name is correct and spelled correctly and written on your timesheet. You're going to verify your employee number is correct. If you're not sure what your employee number is, it is on your work ID badge, so you can check there. At the end of each shift you work, you should be entering the times you worked for that day on your timesheet. You're going to check that the time matches the schedule. So if you worked a little over or a little under or whatever the case may be, you have to also adjust that on the house schedule so that the hours match what you put on your timesheet. You also have to make sure that your manager adjusts your connect blocks so that they all match. So whenever there is a variance, whether it's between the house schedule and connect or, all three, you would be contacting your manager to make sure that they are updating things. And so that when you go to check your timesheet at the end of the pay period, that everything matches the hours you worked to the program hours to the connect blocks. Once that's all done and you've verified that, you're now going to print your timesheet. Once you print your timesheet, you will then sign it. A timesheet has to have your legal signature on it, so you have to sign it. You are acknowledging that the information on that timesheet is true and correct. Going forward, if there is an error on timesheets, you will be contacted and you will be required to report back to your program or to the office, where you will need to complete a new timesheet and sign it. If this cannot be done, then you will be delayed with getting your pay on time. So please be sure to submit an error-free timesheet. So let's look at some parts of the actual timesheet so that this way you can better understand the items we've already talked about. So you have your employee number. All staff receive an employee number and it can be found on your name tag badge. So make sure that that goes in the appropriate spot. You have your employee legal name. This is the name that is often on your Social Security card. So that's the one that, whatever name is on your Social Security card, is the name that you will be writing on your timesheet. Our pay period is for 2 weeks. It starts on a Sunday and it ends on a Saturday. So be sure that you put the correct dates for the time period. You're also going to put your program number that you worked in and the position number for whatever position in that program you worked. If you work in more than one program, you will need to do more than one timesheet. You will do a timesheet at each program you work in. All timesheets need to have this top portion completed correctly. On this slide, we're showing where you actually enter your times in and out on your timesheet. Remember, we use military time. So if you are not familiar with how to do that, on one of the back pages of your timesheet, it shows you the conversion. But you always start with Sunday, regardless of what day of the week you work. So when you get your timesheet and you go to fill it out, you're always going to start with putting the date in for the Sunday. That'll then reflect the rest of the dates. You should already have your base schedule if you are a program staff filled in for you. If not, you would put your scheduled hours, whatever hours you work, whether it's 8 or 6 or whatever the schedule is, would go in your scheduled hours. And then you would reflect the time in and time out that you work. In the approval comments section, that's where you would note things as your time off, holidays, birthday holiday, and then you would also put information if you attended any notes for meetings, any trainings, anything that you need to document over here. So when you get a training, you would put the training and you would put how much time you're getting credit for. That's just the last portion of your timesheet. This is where you have to sign. So you're going to sign your name. And as you can see, it says you agree that the above information is true and correct. This is your signature stating that you have reviewed all 3 items, your timesheet, the house schedule, and your Connect box, and that they all match. So you would then sign and leave your timesheet for your manager. So what you see up on the screen now is the back of your timesheet. For most of us, the only thing we will be filling out is this top portion. Put your employee number, your legal name, the pay period, and the program number that is your base program. So our next topic for today is going to be driver safety. So Fitzmaurice expects each of us who are driving to drive in a safe and courteous manner. We're expected to follow all the state laws and safety rules and any agency policy and procedures for our vehicles. Cell phones are not permitted to be used when you are driving agency vehicles. If you have any changes to your driver's license status or your insurance, you need to contact the HR department if and when these things change. Driver's license checks are conducted annually by the HR department. So be sure that if you have anything that changes, that you are notifying them as it happens, because they will find out when they run the check annually. Fitzmaurice has the authority to review staff driving records and take disciplinary action up to and including termination for violations when deemed necessary. So remember, when you're driving the vehicles, if anything happens, you need to fill out a report and notify your supervisors. Let's talk a little bit about speeding. Statistics show the faster you drive, the more likely you will crash, putting you and others at risk for injury or even death. Remember, when you're in our vehicles, most of the time you are transporting our individuals. You need to consider them in the vehicle too, and yourself, for everyone's safety. In addition to the dangers of speeding that result in accidents, it also causes increased insurance rates, increased wear and tear on your vehicle, and increased fuel costs. So we need to be mindful. So speeding, here are just some facts that I'd like to talk about and maybe shed some light on. In 2022, speeding was a factor in fatal crashes for 18% of the drivers on dry roads, 21% were on wet roads, 33% on roads with slush or snow, 39% on roads with moving or standing water. 41% of accidents are on roads with ice and frost, and 44% were on mud, dirt, or gravel. While driving at the posted speed limit on a dry road may be considered safe, driving at the same speed when the road is wet or covered with ice or snow may be considered unsafe and too fast. So remember, you have to drive for the conditions, and therefore sometimes the actual speed limit may need to be reduced by you in order to stay safe. For too long, preventable deaths and injuries have been called accidents, implying they're unavoidable acts of God, and that we are powerless to stop them. And this is simply not true. If we take the time and pay attention to the road conditions and our speed, we can avoid some potentially dangerous accidents. Fitzmaurice's agency vehicles are equipped with a GPS system. The GPS system monitors what you are doing when you are in the vehicle and reports back to us. From January 2nd through August 8th, 2024, GPS reports indicated that we had 254 speeding violations. 7 of these were at 70 miles per hour, 20 were above 70 miles per hour, 61 were for 15 or more miles per hour over the speed limit, and 26 were for no seatbelts. When you're in the agency vehicle, please make sure that you use your seatbelt and make sure that the individuals are also using theirs. Morris Community Services has an emergency disaster preparedness policy. The policy tells you who sits on our emergency management team and who are the participants when there is an event that happens. A disaster is defined as an event that occurs suddenly and causes great loss of life, damage, or hardship. Here at Fitzmaurice, we defined disasters as any of the following. It could be a storm. A storm could be a blizzard, a flood, high winds, extreme temperatures, fires. Sometimes if there's a fire, depending on the size of the fire, you may have to be relocated. It could be temporary or permanent. Acts of violence. It could be for a protection from abuse order, also known as a PFA. It could be for stabbings, shootings, break-ins, robberies, home invasions. We have biological disasters too. This could be for things like MRSA, scabies, bed bugs, COVID, a pandemic, an endemic. It could be for hazardous material that can be airborne or spilled. It could be for a potential bomb threat, a terrorist attack or alert, or a nuclear disaster. In the event of any type of disaster, the FCS emergency management team will meet and they will formulate a plan. The emergency management team meets to review for some type of event or disaster that is happening. They come up with their plan. Once they have the plan, they will disseminate the information through the chain of command. So direct care staff and program staff, you will receive your information from your managers or program specialists or directors. Instructions and actions will vary depending on the type of emergency or the type of disaster that is going on. So you would just wait to hear from your managers and program specialists for your directions and next steps.
Hello, I'm Etta Ryder, the agency nurse for Fitzmaurice Community Services, and I wanted to talk to you about medication errors. And medication errors play an important role in managing chronic conditions as well as acute conditions for our individuals here at Fitzmaurice. So, people with Down syndrome, and this was from back in 1983, the mean age of individuals with Down syndrome was 25 years. Today, it's 2024, it's almost 60 years. So there's a significant increase in the lifespan of our individuals with a disability. So as one ages, though, you have to think about it as people age. There's more medical changes. There's more things that can go wrong with our individuals. Hypertension, diabetes, orthostatic, hypotension, osteoarthritis, asthma. So it's very important for medication to be administered properly and accurately every time. So some of the health conditions, asthma, intestinal symptoms, eczema, skin allergies, migraines, These are things that are more common in children with developmental disabilities, and as they get older, you continue to see this in them. So let's talk about developmentally disabled conditions related illnesses. And you're going to see a lot of this with the individuals that you care for on a daily basis. Some of them may have mobility issues. Some may have a seizure disorder, sensory impairment. They may not be able to see very well, GI issues, thyroid issues, dementia. And for all these conditions, the doctor prescribes medications for these. They need to control these chronic illnesses. So when there's more illness involved, there's going to be more medications ordered for the individual. So let's talk a minute about statistics with IDD. So 48.9 million people have at least one form of a disability. 1 million live with a severe disability. 2 million have functional limitations. 5 million of these are youth. So most medications are safe for use. There are some medications that there's problems occur, and you may see some side effects, some unintended side effects, and another big one is administration errors. Approximately 1.3 million people are injured annually by medication errors in the United States. So what is a medication error? The National Council for Medication Error Reporting and Prevention defines a medication error as follows. A medication error is any preventable event that may cause or lead to inappropriate medication use or patient harm while the medication is in control of the healthcare professional, patient, or consumer. And such events may be related to prescribing. That would be the doctor. If he prescribed something, that maybe he prescribed a medication for an individual that had an allergy to that medication. Product labeling, packaging, compounding, dispensing, that's all the pharmacy. How does it come down to us administering? We're administering this medication and monitoring it. That's where a medication error really hits home for us, giving that medication. So pitfalls of medication administration. So what is reality? And we got to look at this very realistically. Everybody has busy schedules. There are sometimes lack of staffing. People like to take shortcuts, and I see that a lot in the administration of medications here at Fitzmaurice. No, a lot of people do not follow procedure. They get comfortable with, okay, I don't have to do my 3 checks. I do these meds every day, and I know exactly what they get. Interruptions, behavioral issues. An individual may come in and start acting out, refusing medication. There may be some medical issues. Staff has baggage, mental health, personal issues, stressed, overtime, failure to document, no control count accountability. And that's a big thing. We have to count with 2 people the narcotics at the change of each shift. Lack of communication over lack of staffing, passing meds. So also with administration pitfalls, some people may think, oh, this is just a job. I hear this a lot, distracted, distractions. Again, learning bad habits, morale of agency, lack of support, lack of time, appointment preparation, trying to get somebody ready for an appointment and forget to take meds along, multiple requests, prep for the day, get out the door, day programs, work, medical issues, behavioral issues, lack of inadequate staffing, procedures, lack of oversight of medication. So medication administration expectations, 100% compliance. Yes, we need to be 100% compliant. Is this realistic? Well, we have to ensure that the ability of staff to report and self-report. And it's best to head off if an error is made. No one comes to work saying, I'm going to make a med error. But if an error is made, it's best to head it off before it comes an issue, a potential fatality. So, oversight. Take the time now or take more time later with potential worse outcomes, including death. And look what can be done to help assist. So what this all means is you want to quick get everything done. You want to get the meds out. You have that hour before to an hour after. So you want to make sure you're not late with them or too early with them. However, you want to follow procedure. You want to take your time because the outcome can be fatal. Now, next, I'd like you to watch this video. It's called Alex's Story, and it is a true story that parents decided to record to share with DSPs regarding their son.
I'm the mother of 3 boys, and Alex is my youngest son. Alex died October 24th of 2013, and I'm here to share his story in hopes to make a difference in the lives of other people.
Alex probably stands out, maybe easier to spot than a lot of the clients in a typical ICF-MR home. He was easy to be the favorite because he was funny.
Alex was an amazing young man. He had tons of friends, very, very popular. He could walk into a room and it lit up.
Alex was developmentally handicapped, never learned to read or write, but he had a big, big, bright, beautiful spirit. He loved theater, he loved music, he loved musicals, he loved camp, he loved people. Alex never knew a stranger.
Alex was a rare kid, and you're not supposed to have favorites, but Alex has always been my favorite.
He was a lot of fun. He was one of those faces that was always super animated, whether it was super sad, super angry, super happy. His face just was lit up with his emotion.
Alex moved into a group home and for 14 months did fantastic. He would see family 3 times a week. He'd go to church with me at Mount Auburn Presbyterian Church. He loved to listen to the choir. His dad would pick him up and take him out to dinner and then take him to Melodic Connections where he sang in Sing Like a Rock Star musical group. His brother David would pick him up every week and take him to Skyline Chili. So Alex had a really big life and was maturing in a way that he hadn't when he was with us at home.
So I kissed him on his head, said, "Love you, butthead," and walked out. That's the last time I ever saw him.
On October 24th, I got a phone call that Alex died. For 6 months, we didn't really know what had happened. And I lived with the belief for 6 months that it was natural causes. And 6 months later, we received, the autopsy report that said that he died because he had been given 10 medications that weren't his own.
When these very powerful psychoactive and seizure medicines are given to the wrong people or given in the wrong doses, they can be very harmful, and in fact they can be lethal.
If Alex didn't get your attention to do your job right, nothing will. All the people you care for, each and every one of them, the easy ones, the hard ones, the funny ones, the cute ones, the one that bit you or slapped you last week. They need your best.
Please be diligent and please be aware, because our children's lives are in your hands.
So that was quite a powerful message from Alex's family. So the med errors here at Fitzmaurice need to decrease, and please, everybody, you need to follow your 3 checks, your 5+ rights, and do your job correctly. Thank you.